Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning into the show today. This is a really fun show that I got to do with Keegan from Mountain Strong Landscape. This one is really fun. Like I said, it's short, but it's a really good episode. I think that there's a bunch of value packed in here. And Keegan has a unique story. He has been in the business. This is his 7th year, but he's a young guy. He's only 25, and he only does hardscapes. So he's made his business, grown it into the point where he only does hardscapes, no landscapes, nothing like that, no irrigation, only hardscapes. And he's grown a good business doing that. Him and his brother run it up there in West Virginia, and I love hearing more of Keegan's story. I followed him on social media for a while now, wanted to get him on the show, and he actually, we did the show, he was on a job site this morning with his brother, and he was kind of teaching him, guiding him through some things during the show, so it was kind of cool to hear that aspect of him, showing him where to lay things and things like that. Also, we had a few audio mishaps, just internet wasn't too good, so we switched over to a phone call halfway through, but most of the audio is pretty good. There's a few spots where you might hear cut out, but we got it fixed there at the end and ended up having a really good show. So thanks for tuning into the show. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go ahead and kick it over to Keegan, hear some more from him and what he's got going on at Mountain Strong Landscapes. And we have another great guest interview, and I'm so excited for this one. This is one that I've been following along on Instagram for a while, and I wanted to get him on the show, and we finally got it lined up here. We got it lined up pretty quickly as well, which I love that. This time of year, it's getting a little easier. People are starting to slow down just a tad, so we should be able to get more guests on just a little bit more now heading into the fall season. But then snow comes for all you guys up north, and, then we get shoved to the back burner again because that is just how it is. Business is business. The show must go on, so it's hard getting people lined up, but I love it. I enjoy the challenge of getting to network and meet new people, and so getting to have you on the show, man, is an honor for me. So, Keegan, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Doing great, man. I really appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, man. So we got Keegan with Mountain Strong Landscaping, and are you in PA?
No, we actually are in West Virginia.
Okay, West Virginia. So
I'm not far from PA in Maryland.
Okay, so you're around everything. Well, man, you have an awesome business going on up there. I love the work that you guys put in. Tell us a little bit about it. What does your setup look like? What does your business look like? How'd you get started? Kind of just dive in and tell us the backstory, because I want to get everybody caught up to speed on what you got going up there and get them over there checking out what you're putting in.
Great. To be honest with you, man, I'm a small guy on the totem pole. There's companies around me that are much bigger than I am, but it's just me and my brother, and I'm happy at that because really, man, I'm not going to say I live a stress-free business. I mean, but my business is as stress-free as I think a business can be, because I'm very upfront with my customers. I let them know who we are when we meet, and there's no surprises with me. And like I said, it's just my brother and I. It's been that way from day one. I'll be going into 7 years of business this upcoming year, and all we do is specialize in hardscaping. And I'm thankful that we are able to get the work that we have gotten, and I think it has to do with a lot with the quality of work that we're doing. Plus, I meet a lot of people, and they like the aspect that I'm on the job every day, and that it's just the two of us, so it works out really well.
Yeah, you do have a unique selling point from that point of view. When you're the owner, operator, kind of in the field, putting the work in, you do get that unique selling point. Well, how is that? So you said you've been in business for 7 years. What has that journey looked like for you? Has it been, have you been pretty busy from the beginning? Was there times where it was hard to get work in? What was the whole growth process like to where you are now?
So I started out mowing, I think like a lot of guys, and it wasn't my goal to mow forever. I wanted to get into hardscaping since day one, but really I started out mowing. I had a few customers ask me to do some patios, and I did that. And really just talking about networking, really through networking, I see a lot of guys work out there that I really enjoy seeing. And I thought to myself, one day I want to do jobs like that. And fortunately, we've been able to get to that point, but I can't say we're to a point now, like a lot of these guys who are booked out a year at a time. I mean, I could do some work next month. It's just this in COVID times. I mean, we were booked for a year at a time, but times are changing now, and now it's to the point where we are really looking for more work and whatnot. But I invested $5,000 into my website earlier this year. It's always an investment, and I feel like that's going to prove good for us next year. But yeah, for the most part, that's just kind of who we are. And like I said, we aren't trying to do the biggest jobs. We do anywhere from $20,000 job. I'm on a $7,000 job right now, so I'll do small jobs, and we'll do jobs up to like $70,000. Anything over that, we just don't want to mess with. So we just kind of found our niche, and we just kind of stay in our lane, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I think that's cool to find that you find out what you want to do somewhat early on in business. And I know you're in year 7, but it's still, in the grand scheme of business, you're still pretty early, I guess you could say. Like, those 3 to 5 years is the real pivotal year. So you're coming out of that now. Now you're like getting into the everyday like hustle and bustle, really getting things rolling the last couple years. But I think what you're saying is very true. You find what you want to do, and you don't get caught up in the weeds of trying to, do a massive job, do a small job, run back and forth. Like, you find something that works for you and that you can be profitable at, and rock and roll at it. And I think with, especially like you're saying, just you and another guy, you could throw some challenges in there if you start taking on more than you can actually handle. So has it just been y'all two the whole time? Have you ever like scaled up and come back down, or y'all just stay lean and mean, just you two?
I've had guys here and there. I've never had a whole lot of guys, maybe another guy or two here and there. And that just became a little bit of a headache. And I mean, I'm a young guy. I'm only 25. So, well, I guess I'll be 26, but I'm a young guy. Hey, Zach, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
No, you're good, man.
Just set it on the pavers how they come up.
So it's crazy. He's out there on the job. Yeah, that's why. No, you're good, man. Keep talking.
Yeah, but aside from that, we've had guys here and there, and we just decided to stay small at this point now. I'm the type of guy, I'm a realist. As I get older and your body starts to break down, you're always going to have to find ways in business to improve your business. And what I do today isn't going to be the same as I do tomorrow. So I'm always willing to learn and whatnot, but I'm happy where we're at now. But as I'm getting ready to have a kid in February, so things are going to change there a little bit and whatnot. So it's always a growing state, growing all the time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man, I love that. And I like that you're saying you're growing, because I'm a big advocate for this. I've said this for the last couple of years. Like, you need to be growing at all times, but just because you're growing doesn't mean you're growing like the size of your business. You can be growing as a human. You can be growing as a business owner. Like, you can be growing your business in different ways than just top line revenue and number of guys that you have working for you. You can grow your culture for you and one guy, and you can grow your business in the way that the kind of job you're taking on. You're taking on different jobs that are better for you, that suit you better. So I think there's a lot of truth behind
that. There's mental growing all the time, and that's why social media has a big thing for me, because you get on there and just hear people talking and all those sort of things, and you can just grow by listening to people who are ahead of you, and maybe even somebody who's below you, but there's always room to learn from somebody. And I will give a lot of credit. I'm the type of guy, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. I will give a lot of credit to Synced Up. They've helped me improve my business immensely. Up until really last year, really, I wasn't profitable. I mean, I made a little money here and there, but up until then, I got on with Synced Up, and then you really start seeing, hey, you don't got to take out all the way up there, Zach, just up that way. But really, you can start seeing your profits, and then you could really know it's a business that you can stay in. Because I started this business when I was 16. When you're 16 years old, it's just a way of making a little money here and there. But once you start having a wife and those sort of things, then you have to start to really realize you have to be able to make a living out of this. And that's when I got almost synced up, and it really helped me out.
Yeah, and you're definitely going to realize when you have a kid next year that that changes everything. That changes everything financially, and then also time on the jobs and things, and wanting to be home more. Have you talked about that? Have you and your wife discussed that? Do you know kind of where you want to take the business next year? Do you want to work yourself out of the field anymore, or do you want to schedule jobs differently? How do you want to do that? Yeah, and I know you're still a good ways out, and you got some time to plan. I'm just curious what your thoughts on it are this early, because this is something that a lot of guys struggle with. Is like, hey, I'm having a kid. It's going to be busy, but I want to spend time with them. And I just went through that this past year, so I want to hear kind of what your advice is, or what you're going to do.
So my thoughts are, I want to stay in the field. I'm going to stay in the field until I physically can't be in the field anymore. And let's hope that's a long time down the road. But with that being said, my thoughts on this, I was telling my wife, where you lose time is when you go to unnecessary meetings that you're not going to sell those jobs, or when you're traveling down the road an extra 5 minutes to go get a tour or something like that. That's where I lose time. Next year, I'm not going to be able to be out as late when I want to be home with my kid and those sort of things. But so there's going to be some changes on that aspect of things. But what I will say is my brother and I haven't worked one weekend this year. So, I've been trying, even before I had a kid, I thought to myself, I don't want this to be my whole life. There's a life outside of work. So we've been pretty well at managing that. We don't work 12-hour days. We work 10-hour days at most days, 8-hour days. So I think it comes a lot down to, I'm very upfront with my customers. I book maybe 12 to 15 jobs a year, and I do whatever I have to do to try to stay under that. Hey, Zach, this isn't going to be pavers. This is pavers right here. So it stuff's right in here. Yep. Balls falling off. Yep. Yeah, but aside from that, I think it's the little things that I'm going to have to change to really make a difference. And because my she's going part-time, she's not going to want to be the only one taking care of the kid, and I want to be there with my kids. So it's little things like that I'm going to have to change.
Yeah, that's huge. And one thing, I love that you're out there on the job with your brother, man. It puts a unique twist on this show. Like, hearing you working back and forth together, that's cool. It's not something that we hear all the time.
Yeah, I did a podcast here with Synced Up back earlier this year, and Weston, we were out right on the job. It's just, man, I'll tell you, that's one thing. When it's just you and your brother, you got to truck and get it done when you can. That's how it goes.
That's right. And the season's winding down for y'all. I mean, what is the weather? When does the weather turn for you guys?
We stop. We try to go up to Christmas if at all possible, and then that's about it. Because once you're trying to fight working in January and February, really you're just out there working just to work. You're not really making money, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at on that.
Does y'all's ground freeze? Like, do you go through a hard freeze and stuff?
Yeah, we do. We freeze. So, we did a driveway back there in January, and it took us like a month. That was about 3 years ago, and it wasn't fun. I mean, we were working in like 12-degree weather, and that driveway still looks as good as the day we put it in. But we do with a freeze. My thing is you have to get this compacted before it freezes, or you're fighting a losing battle. So we don't go past December. There's just really no point in it. I save up throughout the year to where I don't have to, and really I spend some good time with my family at that point. And that's really one of the best things I like about being in this industry is that off time, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man. No, I totally get it. I think that's a lot of guys that get into this business, and that's a huge it's a huge contributing factor into that, and it's very beneficial for guys to be able to take some time off in the winter. And I won't lie and say that I don't enjoy it either. We don't totally shut down here because we're a little further south, so we keep going just about year round. We have slow months. January and February are slower, but we still do stuff a couple days a week. Yeah. But I enjoy going on vacations in the winter, doing a little more traveling, things like that. So when the busy season's not here, we take some time for ourselves. So I like that a lot, man. Let's circle back to Synced Up, man, and talk just numbers for a minute, and not just Synced Up, but just like learning your numbers in general. And you said for the entirety of your business up until the last year, you said you probably made some money here and there, but you weren't truly profitable. And we just did a show with Weston on Friday talking about protecting your profits. And I think there's a ton of truth in that. And I think there's too many guys who are going through this industry, working through working their jobs, running their businesses, and they're not holding on to the amount of money that they should be holding on to. And what was that like for you when you finally got to that point and you got onboarded and you did all this stuff, and now you're like truly seeing profit come in? How like beneficial was that to you and your family?
Well, it was very beneficial because, I mean, when I met my wife back there 5 years ago when we got together, I wasn't making any money in this business, you know. I mean, I would just go out and really I was working for nothing. So once her and I got together, like I said, it just made a difference. It made a difference in the way I viewed things. But as far as Synced Up goes, really, it was a huge, huge help to me. Because there's no sense in being in business if you're not making a profit, you know. So, like I told Weston on our podcast, I said, you know, if you're not able to pay yourself and if the business isn't making a profit, there's zero reason to be in business, you know. So that was my thought process. And for anybody who's going through that struggle, you have to think to yourself, if you can't pay yourself, then you shouldn't be in business. That's just the reality of it. And it's the way I look at things.
Yeah, man. No, that's very good. I'm 100% in agreement with you there. I think that too many guys are missing out on money, and we need to get that changed in the industry. So I'm excited to try to help bear that load and move forward, and just try to make everyone more money at the end of the day and run better businesses. So that's kind of the goal here for the show, and just hanging out in the community is that right there. Well, man, yeah, go ahead.
I'm not a guy who knows everything. I'm not a guy who knows everything by any means necessary, but if there's anything I can help somebody with, I'm going to help them out the best I possibly can. And there's a lot of guys who I feel they do some great work, but they just don't charge what they should for the work they do, you know. And I think that needs to change, because in all honesty, I mean, you have a lot of guys who they think of somebody as their competitor or whatnot, but if you can get your competitor pricing the same as you, then there's only one thing that you guys are fighting a job for, and that's for quality of work. And that's what I think everybody should be pricing right. So the only way you get a job is of your quality work, or maybe you speak better or something like that. But it's just, I don't think price should play a role in that.
I believe that 100%. I'm in the same, like I said, in agreement with you there, just about on all fronts on that aspect. Do you have a lot of quote unquote competitors around you, the hardscapers, things like that?
I mean, we have, I would say there's probably a good five or six in our area who do hardscaping. I think I'm the only guy in my area who only does hardscaping, though. Okay. And I don't get out to much of anything else. All we do is hardscaping. And there was a guy I know, he's a good buddy of mine, and we were speaking down at the Synced Up event. His company is called General Paving, if you want to check them out. They're out of New Jersey. But anyway, like he said, and if you go have a deck guy come to install a deck, you're not going to ask that deck guy to install plants for you.
That's right, yeah.
And I'm in 100% agreement with him. When somebody comes to ask me to do a hardscape, that's what they're calling me for, to do a hardscape. I don't do plants because I don't know how to do plants, you know. And I just personally think it's a whole nother career. But hey, if some people are able to do the both, great. But I think a lot of times you have a lot of these companies out here who do both of them. But I think it's because they have different crews. You might have a crew who specializes in doing plants, and then a crew that specializes in doing hardscaping. And obviously, I'm not on that playing field, so I just do what we're good at.
Yeah, man. No, I like that a lot. I think there's a lot of guys who can do both, and maybe they have different experiences in both. Maybe they worked on a landscape crew for 5 years and then didn't transition to hardscape. So they have that planting knowledge to fall back on. That could be a reason there. But I do agree with you about you don't want to get too far out there doing too many things, because that's when you can get messed up. And you can also end up not making money because you're not charging everything right.
This is your invitation to L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2023 in Novi, Michigan, Saturday, November 11th. The lineup is power-packed. You won't want to miss it. Learn from incredible speakers like Leroy Maines, Keith Kalfas, Caleb and Brittany Allman, Sam Gimble, Weston Zimmerman, and Jeff Joyner, just to name a few. Tickets are on sale now, and hurry because seating is limited to just 300.
Hey, what's up? It's Keith Kalfas. Get your tickets now for the 2023 L'Entrepreneur Academy Live.
Once you purchase your ticket, you'll be added to our private Facebook group where you can network with other attendees, get access to the discounted hotel room block, and get the inside scoop for the Friday night party, brought to you by Kohler. Thank you to this year's sponsors, Xmart, Sure Track Trailers, Yard Book, and Boss Snowplow for helping to bring this incredible event to life. We can't wait to see you November 11th, Novi, Michigan, at L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2023. Get your ticket today at l'entrepreneuracademy.com or use the link in the podcast description. L'Entrepreneur Academy Live.
All right, guys. So we switched over to the phone call. I like doing Zoom calls for these because you usually get good audio. But with Keegan out there crushing it, putting it in these installs, the Wi-Fi just wasn't quite there. The internet wasn't there, so we were lagging just a hair. So we switched over to a phone call, and we got much better audio going on now. But Keegan, like I said, I want to dive in for another 5 or 10 minutes here and just kind of talk business with you before we wrap up. What are some things you've learned in business over the past 7 years? So you've made it through those super pivotal years, and now you're getting into, like I said earlier in the show, the flow of things. These last 2, you're probably like really just hustling it out, busting out work, trying to get your process and things implemented. What have you learned in business over the last 7 years that you could pass on to the next guy who's maybe starting out?
I think the most important thing, and I still struggle with this daily. I mean, you always want to try to make sure you have enough work, and that's an important aspect of things. But I think the most important thing is if you go out to meet a customer and you get a feeling from that customer, 9 times out of 10 you're going to be right, and it's always better just to avoid a job like that because you're going to wish you would have later on in doing that job. And like I said, that's a struggle for me daily, but I always think to myself, there's always another job and there's always a different customer. And it might not even be that customer's a bad customer. It just might be a fact of maybe they're just not the customer for you. And so I think that's one of the most important things is learning to say no, I would say. And then also, like we talked about earlier, getting your numbers right, it's just going to change your business.
Man, that's good. And I wanted to hit on that. I'm glad you circled back to that because that's something that I even struggle with now is like you go out to a job and you do the quote and, well, let me ask you this. Are you charging for consultations or do you do free consultations at your level?
So I did charge for consultations for a period of time. I personally don't like it. And
yeah.
The only reason that is because don't get me wrong. I get quotes out as fast as I possibly can. But once again, being that it's only me doing the quotes and doing the work, I tell the customers it might take me a week to get you back a quote. Now, if you charge a customer, then it's kind of they're a little more strict on that. So I don't personally charge them at this point. I try to set up all my meetings on a day or so, and we just go knock them out. But if I'm going out a second time, I'm going to charge you, and then I do charge for designs, obviously. But that all comes down to I don't charge because I do a pretty good job at pre-qualifying. So if I go out to a customer, I've went out to maybe 20 jobs this year, and I've gotten 12 of them. So I've done pretty well on that aspect of things.
What are you doing? What's some advice you could give for pre-qualifying customers? Because that's something that, like I said, I think a lot of guys struggle with that, and you can waste so much time in going out and spending, like I did it earlier this year, and I've talked about it on the show. Like I went out and in probably from like start to finish, by the time I went out and met the customer, put the design together, put the estimate on everything, I was probably 3 hours into this quote, 3 or 4 hours of my time into this, and it just fizzled out. We got absolutely nothing out of it, and I was like, and I had a bad feeling the whole time, but I was just too. Yeah. I wasn't smart enough, strong enough to just walk away from it and leave it. So what are you doing to pre-qualify? And if you do get in and you're like, man, this isn't a good fit, how are you relaying that to the customer in a good way?
So I pretty much, like I spoke about getting a new website done, I have made my website to a point where if you were to go to my website, you can kind of get a feel for the company that we are to begin with. Like we are kind of a higher quality company. I feel as if we do pretty high quality work. So initially, even if somebody comes out to meet with me to begin with, you know, we're already, you don't have to go any deeper. They already have looked at our website and figured out what type of company we are. So I feel right then that gets some customers to go away. But then also when somebody calls me, I have a questionnaire that I make every customer fill out. It's maybe 15 questions, and it asks a few things, but really what that questionnaire is showing me is if that customer's serious. Because if I send it out to 10 people, I might only get 5 that fill it out. I know right away the other 5, they want serious to begin with, but they don't even want to take the time to do that. And then a third thing, I ask every customer what their budget is. And, you know, I have a lot of customers who say, I don't know, I don't have a budget. Well, I tell them you have to give me something because my time is valuable, and I would rather be spending that with my family rather than wasting time going out to a job where I wasn't going to get anything. So it's some of these tough questions that you don't want to ask that you have to ask. And then every job I've sold this year, they gave me a budget, and I felt good about it, and we went out and sold the job. But as far as if I feel like I don't want to work with the customer, I just simply tell them, hey, look, I'll blame on the size of my company. I say, hey, look, I feel like we're just too small of a company to deal with your job. And not only that, I feel like somebody could probably give you better care than I could. And really, I just didn't want that job. But you have to find a way to tell them that.
Yeah, man. I think that's the key is when you can communicate that clearly and effectively and kindly. Then that's when you have it figured out. So, well, good deal, man. Well, I want to let you get back to the job. I know you're rocking and rolling this morning. I got to get to the doctor. We did this early before we got rolling today. So, thanks for taking some time out of your morning there on the job site and coming on and talking to us and sharing your story because I think there's a lot of value in it. I think guys are going to learn from this a lot, and I just really appreciate it, man.
Well, thanks for your time, bro. We'll have to meet out there. I'm going to try to get up to H&A here next year. I didn't get a chance to go this year, but once I get out there next year, we'll have to make a time to meet up there.
Absolutely, man. I'm down to do it. Let's do it. Where can everybody find you if they want to follow along with you on social media?
So if you go to my Instagram, Mountain Strong. Let me make sure I'm saying the right thing here. Give me 1 second.
I think you're Mountain Strong Landscaping on Instagram.
Yeah, Mountain Strong Landscape on Instagram. If anybody cares to look on Facebook, well, Mountain Strong Landscaping on Facebook. TikTok, I have. Let me check that. TikTok is MNT Strong Landscape on TikTok, and then I think that's about it if I can think correctly.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, guys, go check out Keegan there if you want to follow along more with what he's got going on with his hardscape business. It's really cool business. You put in some good work, Keegan. And like I said, just thank you so much for coming on and spending some time with us this morning.
No problem. Thank you, bro. And you have a good week.
You too, buddy. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.